Yes, welcome everybody to the South Australian Sports Show. I hope you can stay with us for the next hour. We have got plenty coming up on the show. We're going to talk about the Southern Footy League. Got some sassy cyclists in. Timmy Ginniver and Kim Costa are going to come in, a bit of a review about the showdown. As a welcome, Barry Curtin to the show. Baz, how are you?
Good, mate.
The weekend, let's get off to a fly, mate. Now, we've got a couple of footy blokes coming in later, so I don't want to drag on it, but your take on Showdown 49?
No, it was a result we predicted.
Yep.
I think it was a pretty good win in the end, 49 points or something. Could have been a lot more given the conditions. I thought they played well. Adelaide were always going to be, and we know that in showdowns, they were always going to be competitive and whatever, and it was always going to be on early and tough in the kitchen and whatever. So, and they were, to their credit, they were very, very tough in that first period. I just think the difference in class was the turning point in the end.
Mate, you've been around it a long time. If you wound the clock back just to 5, 6, 7 years, you'll know where Port was suddenly the younger team and the Power were the Power with the inexperienced team and the Crows were. Is there a cycle? Do you see a cycle over the journey? I mean, we're at 49. You're at 25 wins and 24. Sometimes you might get 3 or 4 wins in a row, and then the other team.
That's happened.
Yeah. So
I mean,
obviously,
Port always were in front, mate, in that showdown.
Yes,
right up until only a few years ago.
But it is cyclable, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, it all depends. What you as an AFL club, I know what Port Adelaide try not to do, and that is bottom out. Don't bottom out. Don't fall down the bottom of the ladder. Always
be around
in your
mark.
recruiting and whatever. Get yourself into that position where you are around the mark, and don't miss the finals. That's where they try to be.
That's the mantra.
And I think the list they've got at the moment, I think they'll be around for a few more years yet.
Yeah.
And Adelaide have got a bit of work to do.
It's a really interesting one, isn't it, when clubs talk about we don't want to miss out on the finals. The way the AFL is structured, with the drafts and everything, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I reckon it's worse than tough. I think it's impossible. I think at some stage, whether it's the Crows, whether it's Port, whether it's Carlton, whether it's Essendon, at some stage you're going to come down and it's a question of not being North Melbourne-like.
That's right.
Where you've completely bottomed out. I think you could slip down to 14, 15 and then make the climb again without having to get to 18.
Don't like even doing that.
No, I know you don't like it, and there are a lot of clubs at a lot of levels that talk about that. We always play finals footy. I'm saying, give me a sporting club anywhere in the world that's done that over there. Manchester United, Liverpool.
But your big clubs.
Port Adelaide, Adelaide.
There's
can't
no
do
salary
it.
cap
no,
there.
Well, but the Lakers can't do it. The Celtics can't do it. No one goes. There's always a period where you come down. There's a question of how far down you come.
That's right.
But at some stage, if your agenda is to say, well, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I think you have to be reasonable. If you're saying we're going to make finals every year, I think you're kidding yourself.
Well, that's the aim. Anyway, that's the aim.
It's not it's an unrealistic aim, but you need that aim at the same time. I'm not disputing that you have that. I'm just saying that it's good to have it as long as you also respect that it's probably not going to happen. Because normally when it doesn't, the first bloke that comes under the pump's the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you go, well, hang on a minute. So
here we go again.
Realistically, and I'm trying to think right now, if you took Damien Hardwick and put him in charge of North Melbourne, would they win any more games than they're winning now?
No, they wouldn't. They haven't got the cattle.
No.
And that's poor recruiting.
And there it is.
Poor recruiting, mate. Poor list management.
And I think there's going to be more emphasis. There's more emphasis anywhere.
Collingwood?
I think it's to look at your recruiting people.
Collingwood.
They're the ones that will stop you getting to that bottomed out period.
Exactly.
So if it bottoms out, instead of pointing the finger at the coach, I think you might want to have a look at your recruiters.
Your list management.
And say,
exactly right, mate.
It may be. I'm not saying it's not, but I'd have a look. And on that subject, I'd defend Buckley now, that Buckley's coaching better now than he did when he came in.
Yeah,
he's 9 years in the league. He's got to be coaching better. He's not going to be worse, but he's got less talent. Yet he's copping more flack now than he has at any other time in his career.
But how do you get yourself into a position, Phil, where you let a player like Treloar go and not only let him go, but have to pay a third of his salary?
Sure.
I mean, that is poor management somewhere along the line, isn't it?
No question. I'm not disputing that.
That's why
I'm not disputing that. So right now, if you're looking at the Crows right now, they're starting to sign up some young players with some talent. So you go, well, they're doing a pretty good job. They're on the rebuild. Port Adelaide are in that magic window right now, and they probably are for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they had to get a bit of pain to get there.
Of course they did.
I reckon if you go back a couple of years ago, well, I don't know if Hinkley can coach another year. I reckon we might have to look at getting rid of Ken. And now they're all going, geez, Ken's a great coach, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just
cyclable.
we disrespect our coaches sometimes. That's what.
And that's
hey,
true.
Quickly, before we get to the break, and maybe we might run out of time, but Michael Slater, making the comments he made, do you reckon he runs the risk of losing his job?
Absolutely.
You've
got to be very careful.
To say that the Prime Minister's got blood on his hands And
It's his network, mate.
Government tend to do a bit of work with Channel 7 and Channel 9. I'm thinking you might want to ease up a little. And I don't reckon he's won a lot of friends over it.
No.
It's hard to win friends when you make that comment and then you go to the Maldives.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He's quarantining in the Maldives.
Yeah.
Quarantine me in the Maldives.
Pick me.
I'm feeling a little bit off.
In fact, I'm happy to give my spot up in Australia for a couple of weeks, mate.
That's what I mean. Look, these guys made the decision to go to India.
Yes.
Don't
It shouldn't make light of it.
And a lot of money.
Yep.
And it's all about cash, mate. They're getting paid squillions to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you're there. There would
they
be
took the
people
risk
in a
going.
greater need
Yes.
to come home than Michael Slater
Yeah.
and David Warner.
I think the part where the Australian public struggles with it, we've got to get to a break and get to Chelsea for the news, is that you knew going over there was a risk.
Course
so you
it's a
took the risk,
mate,
and it backfired. Different if suddenly it came overnight, but you knew going over there was a risk. Anyway, I just think we might not see too much of his commentary if he's not careful. Hey, we need to get over to Chelsea for the news. Chelsea, what have you got for us?
Thanks, guys. I'm Chelsea, and I'll be bringing you a weekly wrap-up of local sport. Firstly, to the NBL, where the Adelaide 36ers played a stellar match against the Sydney Kings, winning 97-88. It was a thrilling win from the 36ers, coming from behind and securing the victory in overtime. It was a very slow start for the Adelaide side, but future NBA star Josh Giddey was exceptional at assisting the side regain some momentum. The 36ers will play the Sydney Kings again this Sunday night at Kudos Bank Arena. Port Adelaide have taken out wins in both the AFL and SANFL showdowns over the weekend. In the AFL, Port defeated the Crows by 49 points, while in the SANFL, the margin was slightly less, with the Crows going down by 14 points. Despite the AFL denying Port Adelaide the chance to wear their heritage Guernsey during the match, the boys changed into them anyway for the team song in a powerful display of strength. Scott Lysett is in hot water after his sling tackle against Ned McHenry, which left him concussed. The match review panel declared the tackle as intentional. It was a Mother's Day match that I'm sure the Adelaide Thunderbirds will want to forget after going down 68-57 against the Queensland Firebirds on Sunday. The Firebirds had a 10-goal lead in the end of the first quarter, with the Thunderbirds giving it their all to fight back. New mums Kim Ravelon and Gretel Buter were key players in the Firebirds side, with their young children watching in the stands. The Thunderbirds' defence was good, but unfortunately their young side lacked experience. Good luck to them on the weekend. Well, that's all we have time for. I'll be back next week. Stay tuned, there's more to come after the break.